Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Butterscotch Rewatch. Today, we are going to be going over the movie Clue, which was made in 1985. It stars Tim Curry and a whole bunch of other people, which we'll go through in just a minute. It's just a really great cast. And anything interesting this weekend, Ireland, or this week that you've...
Um, yeah, we went to go see The Outsiders in the
We
middle of the week
did.
this week. We always enter for the lottery, and for those of you that don't know, if you can sign up like through your email to win $30 tickets for Broadway. And then it's just like if they have leftover tickets for that night, then they just draw random emails, and then if you win, you win. So originally we got put on standby. And as you know, we were put on standby like three
Multiple
times
times.
before that time as well. And we have had like since then we had like no luck. But that final time we did have luck, and we had really decent seats. Like we were right on the end. Nobody sat next to us, so that
Yeah.
was really nice. And it was The Outsiders. Like it won obviously the Tony for Best Musical this past year, and rightfully so. The special effects within that musical, the score in that musical, like the performers were absolutely amazing. Like
Yes.
it was the choreography was so cool. Like that whole fight scene and stuff like was so it just I get chills thinking about it still. Like it was amazing. And I just
Yeah.
feel like it was so nostalgic because like we talked about I haven't seen the movie in so long, but I remember reading the book in like 8th grade, and I remember it being one of my favorite books, and then watching the movie and like seeing all these like iconic people in the movie, and we got to see it in musical form, and that was super sick.
It was very, very good. Just great. Like I didn't expect to see. I haven't seen The Outsiders in like probably 30 years at least. At
Yeah.
least, I feel like maybe high school. Just aged myself way up there.
People are
And
like,
I
what
was
are
just
these
like,
items?
oh, I forgot this happens. Oh my gosh, I forgot this happens. Like I knew
Mhm.
like the certain things that happened, but I forgot like littler things. Like, oh yeah. And I do have to say, who the hell made Soda Pop wear a shirt the entire time?
Listen,
That man needs to
okay,
not have a shirt on.
no, whoever, and I don't even know who it was,
I don't
but
know who it
whoever the
is.
man that was playing Soda Pop in this musical, like the whole first act of the musical was shirtless, rightfully so. This man was beautiful. He looked like a Grecian sculpture,
Yes.
is like the best way I could describe it. And he was like tall, lean, like he was literally like literally sculpted.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
was
what happened. It
very
was just
handsome.
amazing. And then we get into act 2, and he's wearing like a shirt and another like flannel over his shirt the
Yes.
entire time. So that is the only beef I had was the costume
I know. I
design.
think we looked at each other. We're like, who put a shirt on that guy?
Yeah, literally I was like, wait, okay, who made this decision? Because that's
Right. Wrong
uncalled
decision.
for.
Costuming, very bad. No.
Yes, but oh my
They did a
god.
great job.
And whoever played Bally too, his voice, oh my god, was so good.
Yeah, they were
So
all
good. That Run
wonderful.
Brother Run song, oh my god, I couldn't even. Wow, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it ever since on Spotify now. It's
Well,
taking over. Like I usually, we love musicals, but I'm like an
yes.
avid, like we're avid Six listeners, and then like I'm also Hamilton too, and like now like The Outsiders is taking over my
Yes.
my
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been very lucky to win that lottery a lot of times and
Yeah,
see
it doesn't
these.
hurt that it's only $30.
Yeah, and you always get a floor seat. It's always an orchestra seat.
Yeah, in the
It's never like
orchestra.
balcony obstructed view with a pole in front of you. It's not so yeah,
Very
if you
fortunate.
live
We've seen a
near
lot.
Broadway or
We saw
New
the
York.
play Clue. We saw the play Clue
We
via the
did.
lottery. We
Ah,
won the
we
lottery for
did.
Clue.
Mm,
And that
we
was one
did.
of the ones where we wanted to see it because it's just cute, and there was no what is it called, intermission in between either. It was
Because
just
it wasn't a
continuing on
musical. It was just a
play,
play. Hmm.
and it was phenomenal. And me rewatching the movie too when we were like when we knew we were doing Tim Curry month and wanted
Yes.
to do Clue, obviously because it's also one of his favorite roles to play too. Like I just like that set that they had was so accurate. Like from the movie compared, like I was just watching, I was like, oh my god, wait, that actually looks exactly like the movie. That's
Hmm.
insane.
Yeah, they did an awesome job.
Mhm.
Yeah, I Didn't do too much. Your dad took me out for Valentine's Day.
Yay.
Yay!
You
Because he,
better.
we went to like a steak place, and it was your dad didn't, really make he thought he could make reservations like a week and a half before Valentine's Day and there would be tons left, which there wasn't. So,
You guys went on Valentine's Day, right?
we went on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
We did they were like 4:45,
Mm-hmm.
So we
Early
we
bird
were with
special.
like yes, we were with the earlier crowd. It was inside a casino, so there's a lot of casino people, so it's a lot of like
You could just say the elderly.
older people. I am also older, but older than me, yes.
Yeah.
And my parents' age, older,
Mhm.
older than them. And so we were just the two, a lot of two seats as it should be. And we got sat right next to the kitchen, and it was one of those like true kitchens where they had the chef. You could see the chef and the sous chefs making everything. They had the guy that was like, fire up this, fire up this, fire up this, that the chef would say, and they go, yes, chef. It was like, okay, cool. So, and it was also warm. And I freeze. It
Yeah.
could be
She's
98 degrees.
always
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if it's 95 degrees outside. We could be in Vegas outside in 101-degree weather and
I have
she
a
still
sweater.
has her cardigan on.
I have a sweater. Yes. I
Yeah.
have a sweater.
She's nuts.
I'm not. Um, but so we got sat down. We had an excellent server. She was fantastic. Loved her, loved her, loved her. And we did the prefix menu. So it was just like you got a salad or soup. You got a choice of an entree, and then you got to share dessert, a tiramisu. So I was all in. As we've ordered everything and we're waiting. The lady next to me, this older lady, and her, I'm assuming, husband, she's like coughing up a lung, and she has basically
Yum.
she has finished her. I believe it was steak. If it was steak, she had it fully done and it was butterflied. So gross. Already there, gross. Don't get steak if you're gonna do that. It's terrible. Don't ever do that to a steak. And she literally it was like she took like Wolverine claws and went like this to it and shredded it almost.
Like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, but like
like the
yeah,
French
but it was
toast.
like so spread out. It was weird looking because I mean she's like 3 feet from me, so I
Sure.
can see this. And she
Oh, I
calls
love
over the
people watching.
manager. Now she's eaten 90% of this
Mhm.
meat,
It's disgusting.
and she calls over the manager and says, "I didn't like this. There was too much seasoning on it." And the lady goes, the manager goes, "What did you have?" Because she couldn't tell because she ate it. She couldn't even tell.
She's
There's
like,
no way she could tell. Because she
wait,
had
what
already
is
eaten
the movie? The Great Outdoors, where it's like the gristle and the fat.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I think she even ate that too. There was no gristle fat on it because it was a
No, I
flight.
know, but it's
Yeah,
just
but
so
yes,
funny.
it
It's
was
like he
literally like,
literally
"What
left
did you
everything
have,
with the
ma'am?
gristle
What
and
did you
fat.
have?" Yeah, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay." Like her voice was like, "Okay, I'll fire you up a new one, but with less seasoning." And she goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well done." And she goes, "Yeah." And she
I
goes,
guarantee
"Butterflied."
the seasoning was freaking salt.
It was just, yeah, it was
Like
your
they
normal.
probably don't put steak seasoning on. They
They
probably put
put
like
zeros. No.
rosemary,
Mhm.
butter, and salt. That's probably
That's
what it
all
was.
that had on it. It was not spicy because I love spicy things, and
Hmm.
it wasn't spicy at all. It was freaking delicious. You didn't need any like extra,
Did you ask for A1 sauce?
God,
I'm kidding.
no. No, I did not.
It's only a joke because my grandma has to ask for A1 sauce everywhere we go.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But she's learning at certain places
She's
you don't ask
doing-
for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's done really good when she orders filet from like certain places. She doesn't ask for it, so
Yeah.
that's good.
So, okay, that's them. She fires it up. It comes back, and it's done in 3 seconds because it's well done. It's nasty, and it was butterflied. Okay, cool. She eats the whole thing. Still coughing up a lung. And
She's all that
then
red meat.
your dad and I are enjoying our food. It was delicious. Everything was delicious. Steak was cooked perfect. Everything great. Didn't need great seasoning. Didn't need any more or less seasoning. So then, the guy that was like takes the tickets and say, I need this, this, and this. Here, come get this. Looks like he took a break. So the chef came out and he was helping do all of the tickets, and he was getting like to go orders ready because they were busy. So people were ordering to go, and then a couple like like a little bit further, like one up from us and over, they called the chef over. They just were like, and I was like, oh, that's nice. They're going to tell him how much they liked his food because he did a great job. Oh, no, no. Gladys decides that she's going to tell the chef that after she ate the whole thing, that the dessert was too sweet. The dessert was too sweet. She just wanted him to know that. Maybe for future people.
It's like, what are you supposed to do with that information?
It is a tiramisu. I don't find tiramisus to be too sweet. It's not like she was like a mousse with ganache and
yeah, it's like not like the chocolate piñata where it's like chocolate ganache,
right.
chocolate cake, and chocolate ice cream. Like the espresso is bitter, so it like, you know, kind of evens it out, I feel. Balances it out maybe. I don't know.
It was not too sweet. If anything, it wasn't sweet enough. Like it was just like it was perfect. But I'm just saying, like, there was nothing, and I was like,
this girl's nuts.
This bitch. This bitch. Keep your fucking opinions to yourself. Seriously. Like, who does that?
Well, my issue is that you know they're gonna tip like $3.75 on that $250 bill.
Yep. Yeah, because you know everybody got the prefix.
Yeah. My favorite thing is when I was a cart girl and I would work the women's league on Wednesday mornings, and like these women only drink White Claws. Fine. That's fine. Like the 60-year-old women in their leagues. Yeah. And the White Claws were like $5. I would get tipped a nickel. One time they tipped me a dime. One time I told her, I was like, it's okay, you can just keep it.
Yeah, please.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm very thankful I'm getting tipped at all. Like, I'm not saying I'm ungrateful. I'm just saying, like, really? Like, that's okay.
I mean, I'm big on tipping.
Yeah.
I support the service industry. Everybody gets tipped. Like when we're in Vegas, you and I will go to the ATM to get 5s and 10s, and we're literally like tipping everybody.
Girls that are walking around
everybody.
The casino for people holding our luggage, and then when we pick up our luggage, we tip them as well, and then. Obviously the servers and bartenders and all that stuff too, like everybody, because that's how they make a living.
Yes.
Servers and like everybody in that service industry gets paid shit. Like they do not get paid anything minimum wage. I feel, especially like waitresses and bartenders.
Yeah. And I like, even if I have a bad waitress and you can't count the food against the waitress.
No.
Or the server. I'm sorry, I should say server. Against the server. Because they had nothing to do with that.
No.
And if it's bad service, and I mean like there's just like a lot of like mistakes. They don't come, not even attitude, like if they don't come and like, you know, like they come to the table one time and I'm like, oh, I would really like another drink because you know, I'm Irish. I want more drinks. You know, stuff like that. If I feel like it's not good service, I will always tip at least 15%, usually 20.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like, I don't know how their day went.
But you also never know what's going on with their day.
Right.
Absolutely.
Maybe
or going on behind the scenes. Or also you don't know if they have another shitty table and they're also just trying to avoid that table too. Like, and you kind of could have caught in the crossfire, you know? Especially, well, like, and I'm just talking like, especially in Vegas too. Those poor girls probably, well, everybody probably gets harassed out there because I've seen some things out there. But
and we'll always, like, especially when we go to Vegas and we go there a lot, you know, it's very expensive to go eat there. You know, we're always tipping like 30 to 35%. It just depends because they're always so sweet there and lovely. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bartender or a server that was just the dick. I mean,
well, it also helps that we're normal people. I feel like they would probably give the same energy that they receive if it was like that, you know. I don't know, but probably also not. They probably have to act like they really care and that they're sweet even when they have a-holes serving them, or that even if they're serving a-holes. So I don't know.
Yeah, I have a really hard problem, like a really hard time when we go somewhere and it's a $200 bill and someone's like, here's $20 because I'm just tipping. The price of the food shouldn't matter. Then don't go out to eat. Then go to freaking Sizzler. Go to, you know,
go to In-N-Out.
Go to In-N-Out. Go to Applebee's. Just like, don't. You shouldn't.
There's a McDonald's at every corner.
I don't care. And I know there's like a whole debate like, oh my God, no. if you can't afford to tip correctly, don't go. Just don't. Just do yourself a
Yeah.
favor. Like, just if you're gonna be that shitty, those people.
Well, my favorite thing is like if you need to explain yourself, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. Do you know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Yeah. True. That's a good point.
Oh, I'm tipping $10 because like, sir, I didn't ask. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I just like don't care enough, but also like you sound like an asshole. You
Yeah.
sound like a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, that was my Valentine's Day. Otherwise, I mean, it was fine, because I'm just watching. I
Mhm.
love to people watch. I think
Yep.
that's why
Oh,
Vegas is so
absolutely.
fun, especially at Mona
Yes.
Miyabi.
Oh my God.
If you ever go to
Especially on the
Vegas.
street, like, yeah, when we're like sitting on the patio and you just like see the performers
Hmm.
and then you see people interact with the performers and like the people just like walking by, people watching, like when you're traveling is
Oh,
so fun.
yes.
Airport people watching is also very fun. Not airplane. I am not
No,
watching anybody on the airplane. I
no.
am just zoned in and just hoping nobody throws up on the plane. That is all I think
Correct.
about on the plane at all times. I am I am such a what is it called? Emetophobia. I have a fear of people throwing up. I
Mm.
don't know what it's called. But if I see people doing it, like I'm like Vince Vaughn from Four Christmases.
I was gonna say,
I have to like close my eyes, cover my ears, like I like
if I
can't
see
hear
that,
it.
just,
I can't hear it. I can't see it. Like I understand.
oh,
When I become a mother one day, it's gonna be different. I get it. But like if it's just complete stranger, like if somebody does it on the TV, like I was watching The Pit the other day and some guy was just like projectile vomiting and I was just like, "Oh, okay, I'm just watching this." And again, I know this happens in an ER, but I don't work in an ER.
right.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn away for a second."
Okay, let's get to Clue. All right. So Clue, we have Clue, 1985. It was directed by Jonathan Lynn, written by John Landis, who did the story, and Jonathan Lynn, who did the story and screenplay. And it, like we said, stars Tim Curry for our Tim Curry month. It's got Leslie Ann Warren in it as Miss Scarlet, Miss White, Mrs. White. I think it's Mrs. White, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. White is the fantastic Madeline Kahn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love her.
Yes, she's wonderful. She's been in like Blazing Saddles and is it which the Frankenstein? Young Frankenstein? Is that what it is?
I think.
I think that's what it is.
Don't take our word for it.
Yeah, Mel
We're just
Brooks stuff.
spitballing here.
It's yeah, she's great. Anyways, all right, I'll stop babbling about her. I just love her. I love her part in this, and I will.
Yeah.
She is great. It's got I didn't write them down, so I have to like do them
Yeah,
by
Christopher Lloyd is
yeah. Professor Plum
yeah.
is Doc from
Yeah, from
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Who else? Richard Mole is Colonel Mustard. He's from Mr. Mom. He's from a whole bunch of things, but he's also Mr. Mom is what I remember from. That's another
Mm-hmm.
great movie. Who else? Oh, Mrs. Peacock. Oh, I think that's Eileen Brenner. I should have wrote this down, but I didn't.
No, it's okay. The
I don't
people
know what
won't
else
care that
she's
much.
been in a ton of stuff, but like as like for like a episode, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, yeah, that's all I. And then I think that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
What's her phone? Okay, all right. So yeah, so it's everybody. Great job, Katie. Great job not writing it down.
We're doing
Uh,
fine.
yeah. All right. So let's start this masterpiece of a movie. I love this movie so much. Your dad came downstairs and was like, "Are you watching Clue? I need
Yeah,
to
he
watch
loves
that."
Clue too. Now, if only you thought that same way about Shawshank Redemption.
Well, he watched Shawshank Redemption.
Our dad boycotts Shawshank Redemption just to piss us off.
It's for spite, yeah.
It is.
All right.
He really gets that from.
So this takes place in New England in 1954. A man pulls up to the mansion. There are two guard dogs, and he throws them each like a bone, like a big bone with like meat on it. And they grab it, and then he like backs up and steps in dog poo, and it's Tim Curry, and he's
Yeah.
like and then he like wipes it off before
Yeah,
he
he
goes
like
into the
scrapes
mansion.
it off of like a statue outside of the
Yeah.
porch. I'm like, come on, man, figure it out.
Um, and so this is Tim Curry, like we said, he's playing Wadsworth the butler. And he goes to the maid to make sure everything is ready. And he's talking to her. She's a vet. And she's like, and then she like looks on her own shoes, like to see if she stepped in dog poo.
I love
And
this because it's literally a running joke with everybody. You're gonna
it
see
is.
that for the continuous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he goes to the cook next, and the cook says everything will be ready at 7:30 as planned. He's like, great. The first guest arrives, and it's Colonel Mustard.
Hmm.
And obviously, we learn that this is his alias. They're not using any real names of anybody. Everybody has their own alias, so nobody's supposed to know anything about each other.
Hmm.
And then he also smells something. They all go, and then they
Yeah,
look at
they
their
get like
shoes.
a
He
little
looks at
crunch
his
nose and then
shoes.
they all look their
Okay.
shoes.
And so Wadsworth brings him into the library and tells Yvette, the maid, to get him anything he wants within reason. There's a lot of these
Little innuendo
like where
kind
you would
of
look at the camera and go,
things. Yeah,
a lot
right.
of those.
Oh,
This, yeah.
Cersei.
Second guest arrives. It's Mrs. White. And again, looks at her shoes. She smells something and she looks at her shoes. She goes into the library. Now, when she goes into the library where Yvette has like little champagnes, I think it's champagne,
Yeah,
they kind of look at each other, like give that like,
they definitely know each other.
yeah, that like kind of sneer at each other.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then third guest arrives is Mrs. Peacock. Same thing with the shoes. Fourth guest arrives, Mr. Green. Fifth and sixth guests arrive together. This is Miss Scarlet and Professor Plum because Miss Scarlet's
Car
car
broke down.
broke down ahead of time. Uh, Fun little fact here: each of the characters, because this is obviously based on the game Clue. Okay, obviously, I don't think that's a secret. Each of their
What?
cars is the color of their character playing piece.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool. I
So
wasn't
Scarlet
even
has
thinking
a
about
red
that.
car. Plum has like a plum
Purple
car.
or dark
Mrs.
red.
White's or is black and white,
Hmm.
and yeah, like Colonel Mustard drives a yellow car. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
My
was kind of
favorite is when when Mrs. White comes in and she's like, Mrs. White, I wonder why they would call me that. And then they take off her coat and it's white on the inside because like she's wearing all black, but then it's
Mhm.
like the beautiful white satin on the inside.
Yeah.
I love those like
Yep.
little cameo kind of things.
And then they're all in the library and they're all drinking, and they hear the gong. The chef rings the gong. It's like bong, like scares everybody.
Yeah,
And
it's super loud.
yes, and Wadsworth is like, okay, everybody to the dining room. So they all go into the dining room, and Mr. Green. Okay, so this is another running thing. Mr. Green is super clumsy. So when the
Yeah,
gong
hot
hits,
Mets Express.
yes, he spills his champagne all over Mrs. Peacock.
Hmm.
So he's very like jumpy.
Hmm.
And as they're going to the dinner, table, Colonel Mustard asks Wadsworth if he will be joining them, and he says, "No, I'm just the humble butler." And he goes, "What exactly do you do?" And Wadsworth goes, "I buttle, sir." That's what he does. So they all sit at the table and they're waiting for the seventh guest, who his name is Mr. Body. Yes, it is Mr. Body. And at this time, they're passing out. What are they passing out to eat, Ireland?
So they're passing out this delicious looking soup, and then as soon as you know what it is, maybe it's not so delicious anymore. It's shark fin soup. And Professor Plum is the first to dig into the soup, and it is one of the loudest slurps I've ever heard in my entire life. So he literally is digging in, and it's like the smallest little amount of soup on his spoon, and he's just slurping away. And then Mrs. White slowly like starts to follow along as well, so they're eating their soup. And Mrs. Peacock is really itching to start a conversation. You can tell she does not like silence, and like me neither, girl. I am a talker too. Um, so she kind of brings up, and again, keep in mind, they're not supposed to know like anything about each other. They're going by aliases, so she's already crossing some lines here. But she does bring up that she's thrown a lot of parties because of what her husband does, and that she's a wife of a, because she didn't want to go too far into that,
Mhm.
because she's like, oh, just kidding. Like, you guys aren't really supposed to know much. But she wanted to get a conversation flowing. She wants to get to know them a little bit better because she thinks the silence a little awkward. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Green interjects and said, oh, I know who you are. I work in Washington too. Like knowing who she is. And then he's also dropping this bomb that he's works in Washington or is, from Washington DC. And then everybody kind of puts the dots together. Oh, well, you're a wife of a politician. Right. Like, oh, thanks, Mr. Green, for keeping my secret safe. Come on, bud. So Miss Peacock asks Mrs. White, so what does your husband do? Because, she's mentioned, again, she's a Mrs., so she's clearly married, and she goes, he just lays on his back all day. And Miss Scarlet, who is very, I don't want to use the term promiscuous, but she's
very sensual.
Yes, very sensual and very proud of her
for
sexuality. Yes. And she goes, sounds like hard work to me. I love all of these, like...
This is great. I love these kind of movies. So it thunders. And again, Mr. Green spills his soup on Miss Scarlet.
Yep, of course. Why not?
Because that's what he does. After some more conversation, we learn that everyone at the table either lives in Washington, D.C. or works for the government. So this is a big thing. Colonel Mustard asks why they have all been brought here. The doorbell rings. It is Mr. Body, and he has a bag full of surprises for everyone, aka evidence.
It's like this big suitcase.
Another mention is that they are all locked in this mansion because Wadsworth, after he lets Mr. Body in, he locks the door and he's like, "Why are you locking the door?" And and he's like, "Everybody's locked in. All the windows and doors, everything is locked. Like,
yeah, the windows are barred up.
You ain't getting out, right? Yeah, you're not getting out at all." So they all, like, Body sits down at the head of the table. And everyone has received a letter. And Wadsworth reads his letter. And it says, "It will be to your advantage to be present on this date because a Mr. Body will bring to an end a certain long-standing confidential and painful financial liability. Signed, a friend." And they all have received a very similar letter to what Wadsworth has. So even Wadsworth is here because of a letter. So the cook and the maid, same thing. So Yvette brings out soup, the shark fin soup for Mr. Body. And it's Yvette. And he tries to grab her leg. He's like, "Oh, we know each other, and he's like very creepy.
Yeah, he seems really too familiar with her, and she is not having it.
And
she is really creepy. Like, he's coming on super strong.
And she is in the maid uniform that you would dress up for sexy Halloween. Yeah, like that super
fishnets.
Yeah, fishnets. It's like,
and the short dress and
the frilly underneath and the little so she's definitely in the costume of a French maid costume. And so after they get food. Gross. This is so gross. Mrs. Peacock is loving this food. She's like, "Oh, this is my favorite recipe. Oh my God, it's so good." Everybody else is eating it. And they're like, It is monkey brains. They're eating monkey brains. And Miss Peacock just loves it. She's like, "It's my favorite recipe." And Wadsworth is like, "I know." So they all, after this, they all go into the study.
So we go into the study, and now we have our unknown host that's going to reveal the real intentions and why they're all there. So everyone is in the study except for the cook, because we really just see the cook twice this whole movie, really. Yeah. And then Yvette as well. And Wadsworth we saw from even before dinner grab an envelope from the office and bring it to the study that said Wadsworth open after dinner. And it's just a yellow, a manila envelope that he kind of gathered everybody, and then he's opening the letter. And he's instructed to tell them what they all have in common with each other. And Mr. Body is not having this. Mr. Body kind of has a frantic meltdown all of a sudden, which is so interesting because he seemed so comfortable here 5 minutes ago feeling up Yvette. Yes. But now because this envelope came out, he's kind of freaking the F out. And he's just saying, oh my God, guys, this is all a hoax. Like, we need to get out of here right now. And then he's like sprinting out of the hallway and trying to get out of the front door. And Wadsworth is like, you're actually an idiot. Like, I locked you in. Sorry, all the doors are locked. All the windows are locked and barred. Like, no one's getting out. Sorry. And everybody else goes back in the study because they're like, okay, like, what else are we gonna do? We're not gonna, like, we're not going to go against this man's wishes. We're locked in here, whatever. And Mr. Body is, again, not having it. So everybody's going back in the study. Mr. Body takes a hard right out of there and then, like, just starts running into the greenhouse. And then he's like, you can't keep me in here. He's just gonna break the glass of the greenhouse. But there's Dobermans out there. There's
those two dogs, yeah.
We're gonna just rip his throat out. So, doesn't seem like a great idea. And we make our way back into the study.
And this is when Wadsworth reveals that they're all being blackmailed, and he will share that information. Okay. So Professor Plum was a psychiatrist who lost his license by sleeping with one of his female patients. Mrs. Peacock was taking bribes in return for delivering her husband, who's a senator, his vote to certain lobbyists. They placed they placed the money underneath, like, in an envelope underneath the, like, men's room, which is, like, super weird. I don't know. That just. And then everyone denies, you know, what they're doing. They're all like, no, we didn't do what we're being blackmailed for, you know, except for Miss Scarlet. She's like, I did exactly what I'm being blackmailed for. And she's basically a madam that runs an escort service. Colonel Mustard has used that service. He tells Scarlet to say, it is not true. And she's like, no, it's not true. And then Wadsworth goes, a double negative.
They're like, we're picking up what you're dropping.
And after he says a double negative, then Mustard goes, you have photographs?
Yeah, right. Colonel Mustard is actually an idiot. Like, the things that he responds with, like, he's so stupid.
Wadsworth says, that sounds like a confession to me. The double negative has led to proof positive. I'm afraid you gave yourself away. That's what he says. And then Mustard says, are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests? And Wadsworth says, you don't need help from me, sir. And then he says, that's right.
Good job, buddy. That's when you do, like, the little head pat. And it's just like, good job, buddy. Good job.
That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. And Mrs. White is being blackmailed because her husband died under mysterious circumstances. This is where we learn
where he's lying on his back.
What does your husband do? He's lying on his back because he's dead.
Yeah, because hasn't been alive for a while.
And he was a nuclear physicist. He was found at home, and his head had been cut off, as well as his, That's what he says. And then all the men cross their legs.
Yeah, all the men that are sitting next to her just start crossing their legs. They're like, oh, get me away from this woman.
I love her character. I can't.
I know.
And then this is what she says. Well, that was my second husband. And she's like, her first husband disappeared. And she said, he was an illusionist. And then Wadsworth goes, but he never reappeared. And she says, he wasn't a very good illusionist.
He wasn't a very good illusionist.
I can't even.
And she could not. She's like so unbothered too. Like she doesn't show any personality, no inflection in her voice. She literally could give two shits.
She's so great. She's so great. And then Mr. Green just says, "I'll just let y'all know what mine is. I'm gay."
Yeah.
And it's 1954, and he works at a government job, so
yeah,
that's a no-no. And Mr. Body is the one doing all the blackmailing. Obviously, if we haven't figured that out, this is when they. So he fights Colonel Mustard. They fight.
Because Colonel Mustard's trying to he's like, oh, it's you that's blackmailing us, why I oughta. And it's like, sir, you're not really gonna do anything.
And he literally Body punches him, and then he pokes him in the eyes.
It's really so comedic.
And then Mrs. White just walks up to Mr. Body very calmly and knees him in the groin. Yeah. And then she just turns around and walks away.
No, literally no change in anything.
Nothing.
All right, my job here is done.
And Wadsworth tells them that the police will be there in 45 minutes and everything is being recorded. That's where Yvette is. She is in the billiards room she's sitting on the pool table listening to the recording. And he's like, just tell everybody, just tell the police about Body. And Body hands everybody a box. They each get a gift. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, let me get my little suitcase, and then he hands everybody a stupid gift.
And what are the gifts? Who gets what gifts?
So when they're opening, of course, Miss Scarlet's like, oh, I'll open mine first. I love gifts from strangers. So she opens it and it's just a candlestick and she's like, thanks. And then Mrs. White, we pan over to her and she opens hers and it's a rope. And then Mr. Green opens his and it's a pipe. Colonel Mustard opens his and it's a wrench. Professor Plum gets the pistol. I'm like, okay. Like, all these other people get like nothing. Then he gets the pistol. And then Mrs. Peacock gets the knife.
Mm-hmm. And Body tells them that the only way to keep their secrets from being revealed is to kill Wadsworth.
Not our man.
So he decides to turn off the light. He's like, we'll kill him now. And then we hear a shot go off. We hear like a thump, a gunshot, a scream. And then Peacock turns on the light and Body is dead. He's just laying face down. No bullet holes, so he wasn't shot. And then we see Mrs. Peacock in the background drinking like the drink. And then they say, well, maybe he was poisoned. And she goes, ah!
Yeah, maybe the cognac was poisoned.
Yeah. And she like screams. She's like screaming. And then Green like smacks her because she's like hysterical.
Yeah, she was screaming uncontrollably. And then he literally slaps her across the face. And then he turns around so nonchalantly and goes, what? I had to stop her from screaming.
Yes.
Jeez. Because everybody's like, did you just hit a woman?
So they hear a scream from another room and they all rush into the billiards room where they see Yvette. Okay. So she was screaming because she was alone in the room. She doesn't like the dark. And she also drank the cognac. Is that how you say it? Cognac? Yeah. Obviously I don't drink that, so I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Okay, girl.
So yeah, she was scared because she drank the cognac too. And she thought maybe it was poison. That's why she screamed. So back in the study, Wadsworth confesses he is the one that wrote the letters. He was once Mr. Body's butler, but he was blackmailing his wife and she unalived herself.
Yeah.
He blackmails people he feels are un-American. And then Mr. Green is like leaning on a table because there were no seats.
Yeah, because he invited Yvette back to the study with them because they're like, oh, we don't want you to be by yourself. And then there was no seats for him. So then he's just sitting on a coffee table in the corner.
And the coffee table breaks.
Yep.
And he falls down because this is Mr. Green. And Wadsworth says that his wife was friends with socialists. And everyone goes, oh, gasps, because it's 1954. Right. And he said, we all make mistakes. And he cries, and Mrs. White gets up to give him a tissue.
But she pulls from her bra.
Yeah.
She literally just like...
Very...
Right.
And Wadsworth and his wife had to work for Mr. Body for free until her death. He felt bringing everyone together, they could turn him into the police. And then he says, 39 minutes to find out who the killer is. And everyone denies having anything to do with Body's death. Who else was here? Who else was here?
They determined that the cook was also here. So they race to the kitchen, completely Scooby-Doo style, and they're like in a line. And they run to the kitchen, and Mr. Green is just leaning up against the freezer. Everybody's looking around, and they're like, okay, well, she's obviously not in here. And all of a sudden, the freezer door opens when Mr. Green, of course, because he's clumsy as heck, and the door opens, and the cook's body falls out, and there is a knife in her back. And Mr. Green's line all night is going to be, I didn't do it.
And he drops her.
Yes, literally. He because she falls on him, and then he's just like, I didn't do it, and then just lets her fall on the floor.
Yeah.
And Colonel Mustard is really befuddled. He's like, who the hell would want to kill the cook? And Scarlet goes, dinner wasn't that bad. So then everybody's kind of making a face at her, like, how can you make like jokes at a time like this? And she's like, humor is my defense mechanism.
Same.
And it's honestly same girl.
Yes.
Sarcasm and that, yeah, me too.
Mhm.
And Mustard says that only one of them obviously can be a killer. And only one has truly admitted to be a killer, and that would be Mrs. White.
And here's her conversation. She says, I've admitted nothing. And Mustard says, you paid the blackmail. How many husbands have you had? And she goes, mine or other women's. Yours. 5. 5? Yes, just the 5. Husbands should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable. You lure men to their deaths like a spider with flies. And she says, flies are where men are most vulnerable.
Clocked.
She
She
says,
got him there.
and then he goes, right. Then he thinks about it for a moment. If it wasn't you, then who was it? He doesn't get it. If it wasn't you, who was it? Oh, that flies are where men are most vulnerable.
She is so quick with it. She
is ahead of her time. She's too
And
smart for these
he
people.
has 2 brain cells. So.
Oh, just fantastic. Oh, and of course, the obvious thing was the cook was stabbed. So who had the knife? Mrs. Peacock. Yeah. But she says, I dropped it in the study when I was screaming. So they decide, let's take the cook's body to the study. And uh-oh, what happens in the what's wrong with the study?
So Mr. Body's body is gone. Because that's just, the study is just where the bodies are. That's just where they live.
Yeah.
And Mr. Body's body is gone. So they just drop the cook's body just in the doorway.
In the doorway.
Yep, just drop it right there. And they're like, well, maybe Mr. Body wasn't dead. And then, of course, Miss Scarlet has to have one of the last words. And she goes, well, maybe there is life after death. And then Mrs. White goes, life after death is as improbable as sex after marriage. She is such a Black Widow. I freaking love her. I can't with her.
Oh my god.
So, of course, Mrs. Peacock she's gotta go to the bathroom. So she's heading to the bathroom. And this is when Scarlet finds those pictures that Colonel Mustard was being blackmailed with. And we don't 100% know what was on those pictures at that time, but we can assume it was him at Miss Scarlet's place of work. And Scarlet asks Yvette if she would ever like to see them. And of course she's like, no, I'm a lady. I wouldn't want to see those, whatever. And then everybody else looks at him anyway. So Yvette, you're not better than anybody, I guess.
And this is when Mrs. White looks at the negatives and she goes, oh my, nobody could get into that position. And then Plum says, sure they can, let me show you. And he
literally throws her on the couch and lifts her leg, and I'm like, what is going on here?
And she says, get off me. Not even like, get off me. Get off me.
Get off of me.
Very, very as she is. She's and then we hear Peacock screaming because Mr. Body's body falls on her when she opens the bathroom door.
He's trying to pee, and his body just falls on him.
He has new injuries and is most definitely dead again.
Again?
Yes, dead again. Most definitely this time. The first time, Professor Plum was the one that checked him out. That he said he was dead. He has no pulse. He's dead. Okay, so that's just kind of like a little... Put a pin in that. Peacock's going to faint again. Wadsworth goes, fall into my arms. And she falls through his arms and through his legs. And she's just on the ground.
Sorry.
And he goes, sorry. Oh, God. Everything is it's just, you gotta catch it. Yeah. Watching this as a kid, I didn't get it. I still liked it as a kid because I was like, oh, it's cool in the game. But watching it again as the adult and catching all this genius, so great. And what does Mr. Green say? Because he has blood on his hands.
Yeah, so he has blood all over his hands. And of course he goes, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Because those are really the only words we ever hear him say throughout this entire movie. And Wadsworth is headed over to the bathroom where Mr. Body fell out. And he is just shouting because a candlestick fell on his head.
Yeah.
So he's just like, okay, well, obviously this guy got probably hit with a candlestick here. And that would make sense because we did see blood coming from
Mr. Bodies.
from Mr.
Yeah.
Body's head. And you know where we put the bodies? We're going back to the study and we're
Back to
putting
the
the bodies
study.
all let the bodies hit the study.
Yes, right.
Throwing them on the sofa in the study.
They're putting him on the sofa this time. Finally, the cook is, and it's funny because when they bring his body into the study, they just like walk over the cook's body
Yeah, they just
and then
right
put
over
him
there.
on the sofa, and then they get the cook, and then they put her on the sofa. This poor lady's body.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
the entire time I'm thinking of this, and like especially towards the end of the movie too, like when they're like, you know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I could never be an actor playing a dead body throughout this entire film because there are so many scenes where they're just dead, and I could
Yeah.
not just be like straight faced in this entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. And
Oh,
and another fun thing to watch is because when I do the notes you have to pause it and you write the stuff
right.
down and you replay it again. And anytime Mrs. White, and I feel like she's ad-libbing or improvising many of these scenes, and they just let her go and do her thing,
Mhm.
you'll notice how the other actors react to something she says because it either wasn't in the script or she just says it so
Or they're just like, that's
perfectly.
just pure genius.
Yes.
Like this
Yes.
is greatness right now.
um, yeah, so Wadsworth decides that he's going to lock up the rope, the gun, and the lead pipe in the cabinet in the study. And then he takes the key, and they're like, "Well, why should you have the key?" And he goes, "Well, I'll throw it outside. Like, I'll get rid of the key. That way, nobody has the key." Okay, so they go to throw away the key outside when a man is standing at the door, and he's asking to use the phone because his car broke down. So this motorist is like, they're like this, and then, and then he's like, Wadsworth is like, why don't you come in?
Yeah,
And
please use
you
the
can
phone in the study.
study.
Just kidding, not the study.
Yeah, they're like, the lounge, the lounge, the lounge. So he goes into the lounge, and he's locked in the lounge. Wadsworth locks him in, because everybody's locked in for some
Yeah.
reason. And then they throw the cabinet key outside.
Mhm.
Okay, so you see it hit the
Like the pavement and then
the
roll
pavement,
off
and it
the
goes into like
sunset. Yeah.
the bushes or whatever. Um, and Wadsworth and Mustard have a conversation about anyone being in the house. Is there someone else that could be in this house? And everything's locked, so nobody can come in. So everybody that's in the house is in the house now. So he's like, well, let's split up and look for the killers. And how do they look for the killer? How do they get the teens to look for the killers?
Well, because they have so many people beefing with each other, because it's just like such weird circumstances, he says that the best way to do this is that they're going to draw matches. So you have the two shortest matches. Those people who draw the two shortest matches are going to the cellar, and then like by size, they're just going basically from the cellar to the attic of the house. Which that makes perfectly good sense to me. So he's cutting them, and then Wadsworth is the one that's distributing them. So he lets everybody pick, and it's pretty much probably the worst pairs that you can think of when
It
they're
is.
drawing these matches. And of course, we know that like the movie did that on purpose, but it's still technically by chance. So we have Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard that got paired together, which we know that their scandals are put together. Wadsworth and Mrs. White, match made in heaven. Amazing. So that's a lot of personality.
Right.
And then Yvette and Mr. Green, which is honestly a pretty good pairing. Like, I feel like he's... Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
Here is the funny thing about this. When they're drawing straws, all the guys except for Green want to be with Yvette because she's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
they're all comparing
Okay.
matchsticks to Yvette.
And she gets paired with the one gay man.
Yep. And
I
that's what
love
I was
it.
just about to say. I'm like, that's literally a match made in heaven probably for her because she's not scared she's going to get groped.
Right.
Because Professor Plum is very handsy with Miss Scarlet, so I can only imagine what he's like with Yvette.
Yeah.
And then Colonel Mustard, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. And
Yeah.
then Miss Peacock and Mr. Plum or Professor Plum are together and they're really funny together. And they draw the shortest sticks, so they also have to be in the scariest part of the house, so
Right.
they're in the cellar together.
Yes. And the funny thing is that so everybody is already picked they already have their teams basically. And Professor Plum's got the small one and Yvette has the longest one, okay?
He still
It's
prepares it.
he goes and he goes to like Scarlet and he's like, oh. And he knows it's Peacock, and then he goes to Peacock. He's like, so everybody's
Oh
paired
my
with somebody that they
God.
don't want to be paired with. You know, it's
So
just, it's
funny.
hilarious. Yeah, it's just there was so much thought into this movie. It's just hilarious. Um, so like you said, so Yvette and Green are going to search the attic, and for some reason she's still holding that matchstick like this. Go ahead, go.
Not even lit, so she's not even getting light from it. She's literally
Right.
just holding it for a defense mechanism.
Peacock and Plumber in the basement, like Ireland said. White and Wadsworth, they search upstairs. And Peacock and Mustard are doing like the rest of the main floor that everybody's on. So they're in the billiards room, whatever it's called. Um, and then while all these people are searching, we see someone with like black gloves grab the evidence and they throw it in the fire and they open up the weapons cabinet.
Yeah, but my favorite part about them throwing the evidence in the fire is that half of the photographs didn't make it into the fire. Half of the photographs made it like on the outside of the wood. And then like obviously like the recording and stuff made it into the fire because those were all crackling or whatever, and there was like 3 photos that made it in there. And then the rest of them were like falling out.
So we're going to cut to the motorist who is on the phone in the lounge, locked in. Okay. There's no way to get to that lounge.
Mhm.
He is telling whomever he's on the other line with that he's a little nervous because there are all these people here, and we see the fireplace behind him like turn, and someone has the wrench. And he says, the motorist says, one of them is my old boss from, and then he gets hit over the head with the wrench, and he's killed with the wrench in the lounge. And then, meanwhile, a policeman has gone past this motorist's vehicle and notices like it looked like it like hit something, like a mound or something.
Yeah, it looked like
It's
it
like,
was kind of like up on an angle or something. I
yeah,
don't know how.
yeah. So he of course, is kind of investigating this. He's like, it's weird. Okay. And Scarlet and Mustard are in the conservatory, and they find a secret passage in the conservatory, and it leads to the lounge where they find the man on the phone dead, just like the board game.
Yeah.
And as they're screaming to get out because they can't get out. They're like banging on the door. Let's out, let's out, let's out, let's out. And so Wadsworth opens the door, or no, he doesn't open the door.
No, everybody's like literally Scooby-Doo running out because everybody else is like above. Like everybody else is like in like other rooms, like, and then they all like collide with each other in the hallway, and of course they're like falling all over each other, running down the stairs. And then they're trying to figure out, okay, well, where's the key? Where's the key? And then Wadsworth can't find the key. And then they're like, what? Colonel Mustard and Mr. Green, like Mr. Green's or not Colonel Mustard because he's in there. Who is it? Professor Plum and Mr. Green are literally like, Mr. Green's like, oh, open the door, like let's open the door, like there is no key, and Professor Plum is like, well, where is the key? There is no key. Like they keep going back and forth. And then of course, the very perfect way to open the door without even thinking is Miss Yvette is going to run across the room, grab the gun from the cabinet that is now suspiciously open even though they locked it, and then shoot the door open.
She shoots the chandelier as well.
Yeah.
First, because she's like running with the gun and she doesn't know how to shoot the gun, and then she shoots twice at the door while Scarlet and Mustard are on the other side of the door, right where she's shooting. Colonel Mustard does get shot, but it just grazes his suit, like where his like pad would be.
Yeah, like he has like a shoulder
pad.
pad on.
Yeah,
He's
it's like
fine.
very yeah, and he's like, I've been shot, and he's dead. But it only grazes him. And as they come out, the chandelier almost falls on him too.
Yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
as soon as the bullet grazes him, right, he's
Yeah.
like, my heart can only take so much. And then as soon as he says that, then the chandelier falls and almost hits him. And then he's like, oh, like clutching his chest on the bench.
Clutching his pearls.
Literally.
So the doorbell rings. Who's at the door?
So we have our police officer that approached the motorist car that they, obviously stopped in front of the house or nearby. So the police just asked everybody, because of course, not just one person has to answer the door. All of them have to answer the door at the same time as a group.
Yeah.
It's like my emotional support crew.
Yeah, exactly.
And the police officer just asks, well, did they use the phone to call for help or anything like that? And then wait, hold on a second. Yeah, wait, yeah. Then don't they all say like no?
They just
And then
so
Mr.
they
Green
haven't
says,
seen him. They haven't seen a motorist. A motorist didn't come by. They
oh,
haven't seen him at all. They're like, no, no, we haven't seen him at all. And that's when the police officer asks if he can use the phone.
okay.
Yeah, and this is when they go, you could use the phone in the. No, you can use the phone in the.
No, not the lab.
Nope.
How about the
Yep.
library?
And of course, he goes into the library.
Mhm,
They lock him in again. This I'd be like, oh hell no, I'm out.
mhm.
um, and before he goes to use the phone rings. So the cop answers the phone, and he says, "May I tell them who's calling?" And he's like, "Okay, I see." And he hangs up, and they let him out, and he tells them that J. Edgar Hoover is on the phone. So he didn't hang up. So sorry. He just put the phone to the side. He didn't hang up.
Yeah, yeah.
So he says, hold on. And Wadsworth goes in the library and he closes the door. And obviously he's talking on the phone. And so the cop says, what's going on here? And Scarlett says, we're having a party. And then Mr. Green says, she goes, Mr. Green, why don't you show him around? Great. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah,
Throw me
and
under the
of
bus.
course, yeah, and of course the only two rooms that he wants to go in are the two that are closed, because when the police officer was walking into the house, Miss Scarlet and Professor Plum literally shut the study and then the billiards room. Is it the billiards room,
It
or
was
the study
the
and the
lounge.
lounge? I'm sorry, the
The
lounge.
lounge of the study. Yeah.
They literally slammed those doors like so hard that it was so loud. And then just like acted so nonchalant after they did that. So of course the police officer is like, well, what about these other two rooms? Because Miss Scarlett's like, well, you can show him the billiards room, the dining room, and then like this room, but not those. And they are trying to make it seem like there are not dead bodies here. They're
Right.
going full weekend of Bernie's. Like they're trying to make sure that it's just looking like it's a full party here.
Yeah.
So in the study, Mrs. White is it's Mrs. White and then Colonel Mustard and Mrs. Peacock are all in the same room. And that's where the chef and Mr. Body are. So Mrs. White is like full laying on the couch, like kissing Mr. Body on like the little couch in the study.
Holding his
Yeah, and
hand.
she's like has her arm around, so then it's like making his hand move like on her head. And then Colonel Mustard is like pretending to make out with the chef, and Mrs. Peacock is holding up the chef, and Colonel Mustard is
Yeah.
also holding up the chef, and Mrs. Peacock's hands are the ones that are moving across Colonel Mustard's back, so it looks like they're making out too.
Yeah.
So when the cop is like, I want to go see the study, Mr. Green is of course panicking. He's like, I really want to go in there if I were you. And then as soon as they go in there, then the cop is like, oh, I see nothing illegal going on here. There's just people having a good time. There's nothing happening. It's just a party. Let him have some fun. And then, of course, the next place he wants to visit is the lounge.
Mhm.
What's happening in the lounge?
So in the lounge, that's where our motorist was beaten to death with the wrench.
Hmm.
He is Scarlet. This is Scarlet and
Professor Plum.
Professor Plum. That's right. She grabs like she has a bottle of champagne and she puts it in they sit the motorist up in a chair, put a hat on him because he was sitting on the head, so that's where he's bleeding from, and put like a hat, and then she like poured some liquor like around his mouth, and then he's holding a bottle and it looks like he's passed out, and her and Professor Plum are making out on the couch. So when the guy comes in, the cop comes in, he's like, oh, and he's like, oh, hey, buddy. And he like smells the liquor on his breath. He's like, this man is not driving home. And they're like, no, no, no.
This man is dead drunk.
Drunk, dead drunk. Yes, that's what he's.
Yeah, but this man's not going to drive home, is he?
Yeah. And they say like, oh no, we'll get him a car. And then
Yeah.
Plum says, a long black car. And she goes, a limousine.
A limo, a limo.
He
Oh my
meant-
god. Freaking Professor Plum.
He met a hearse and she's like, a limo.
Yeah.
Of course.
What a nightmare.
And then Wadsworth comes out of the library after talking on the phone, and the cop says he's seen it all and nothing illegal is going on here, and this is a free country. And Wadsworth, of course, thinks he's talking about all the dead bodies.
Yeah, Wadsworth goes, I didn't think it was that free.
Yeah. And then again, he says, can I use your phone? The police officer. And the cop is back in the library, locked in again. And they go back to searching the house. And Scarlett and Colonel Mustard find another secret passage from the freezer to the study. And someone cuts the lights. So in the basement is Mrs. Peacock. And of course, she can't see. And she like backs up into like the furnace, and she's like beating the furnace, and she's like, don't touch me, don't touch me,
With like her clutch.
and her glasses, she's got like those
her.
1950s glasses with like those like little diamonds on it. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And Yvette sneaks down the stairs to the billiards room, and we hear a voice talk to Yvette and say, did anybody recognize you? And she says, they must have, and not just my face. They know every inch of my body, and they're not the only ones. And then the noose, the rope, which is fashioned into a noose, is put around her neck. And then she goes, oh, it's you. And then she's strangled. So while the cop is on the phone, yeah, there's the billiards room with the rope, but we don't know who did it. While the cop is on the phone, someone comes in through the secret passageway and hits him with the lead pipe. The cop is killed in the library with the lead pipe. Doorbell rings again. The door opens. And what do we find?
So we find a singing telegram girl, and she's just full on tap dancing. And she's like, I'm your singing telegram. And then literally 5 seconds, I'm your singing telegram. And then literally gets shot.
She just gets shot.
And then the door slams.
Yep.
That's it. That was it.
So Mrs. White starts screaming, and Wadsworth tries to get her to her, and actually, and as he's looking because it's dark, he like opens a door and he goes, "Is this another door?" And it's a shower, and he turns on the shower.
Stands there contemplating life for a little bit because he just turned on water.
And in true Tim Curry fashion, he gives the face of like,
Yeah,
as it's just pouring down on him.
literally.
So he runs downstairs and he turns the lights back on. They all meet in the hallway, and then they find Yvette dead on the pool table. And they all just look at her. No, like, screams. So then they all turn around. And then they walk out of the room. They find the cop dead in the library. Neither of them are shot. So they're like, okay, there's 2 murders. So again, they just turn around and just walk out. But then someone says that they heard a gunshot and the front door slam. So they head that way and they find the singing telegram lady dead. 3 murders, 6 total.
Insane.
All right. This is going to start some really, this is where this movie really shines.
No, this is the last 20 minutes of the movie. And this is the best part of the whole movie, but it's just so chaotic.
Yeah. And we tried so hard to sum it up without, because we can't show the part of the movie because that would be copyright, which really sucks. Because I would love to just show the movie as is. I tried to pick the best parts of the scenes, just to try to capture some of the genius of this part. So, so do you wanna start or?
Sure. So the very first scenario we get is, well, how do we think this all happened? Well, Wadsworth is going to walk us through it. So first, Yvette was in the library by herself, and Wadsworth was in the hall. How does he know? Because he was there. That's what he says. And he hurried to the kitchen just to make sure that the cook was still alive, and making that dinner,
Mhm.
and asking when the dinner was going to be ready. That's when they tell them 7:30. Amazing. Then the doorbell rings, and of course our first guest was Colonel Mustard. And then as he's telling this story, they are running throughout all these places throughout the mansion
Mhm.
the whole time. So
Yes.
after he answers the front door, or after he is from the library, then he's like, okay, then I answered the door for Colonel Mustard, and then they all run to the front door. And then they all ran to the library after, because
Mhm.
that's where he brought Colonel Mustard after he came
For the
in. And he's
study.
like,
Yeah.
then Yvette offered him champagne for a drink. And then I said, make sure you're offering everything that, within reason. Ha
Within
ha
reason,
ha.
yeah.
And then, oh, the doorbell rings again. And then they all run out again, back to the front door. Oh, it's Mrs. White. Mrs. White is looking pale and tragic.
That's how he describes her.
And then Mrs. White goes to the study. So then they all run back. Oh, Yvette, Mrs. White, they meet. Mrs. White flinches. That's not good. And then the cook rang the gong. And then everybody else came into, like, Professor Plum
Mhm.
and Scarlet came together, and then Green came together and everything like that. And then they all got scared from the gong. Mr. Green spills his champagne on Miss Peacock, all of those things. And then they all sit at the dinner table, and then Mrs. White, Professor Plum are slurping their shark fin soup. They're all talking about receiving the letter. You had a letter. You had a letter. You had a
Yeah.
letter. We all have letters. And then we go back to the study. They're all Scooby Doo running back to the study. You all open your presents from Mr. Body. They turn off the lights, and then they all start screaming.
Yeah.
They're all like, not again. And then the light turns back on,
Yeah.
and Wadsworth is lying face down on the floor, like just like a pile of bricks.
Mhm.
And then he just like pops up, and he's like, and then Body wasn't dead, but he was pretending to be because you said he was dead. And Professor Plum is like, you got me there. I'm not a doctor. Sorry, bud. And then the cook and Yvette are where Mr. Body got his
Mhm.
info from. They were accomplices in all of this. Mrs. White's husband had an affair with Yvette, so that's how they were connected, and that's why she flinched when she met Yvette. Mrs. Scarlet was Yvette's employer, so, and then that's her and Colonel Mustard were connected because Colonel Mustard was one of her clients. So there was kind of like all of these things. And then now we're determining, okay, they all had this motive. So we all had this motive for Yvette and all these things, but who the hell killed the cook?
Mhm.
So again, they're all running to the kitchen, and then all of a sudden they all beat Wadsworth to the kitchen because they're looking around for
Yeah.
him. And then they open the freezer, and Wadsworth is falling out of the freezer just like the cook did. And Green catches him, but then he drops on
Just
the ground,
drops him.
just like
Yeah.
the chef. And Wadsworth says everyone who had died pretty much had information on every single one of you. The driver that came in, so the motorist, that was the driver for Colonel Mustard. That's when Colonel Mustard tells us that he knew that he was a war profiteer. He sold some radio equipment
Mhm.
on the black market, and the motorist knew about that, so that's their relation. The cop that came in to use the phone was on Miss Scarlet's payroll, just so she can keep running
Brothel.
her brothel, her business. And then the singing telegram girl was the victim of Professor Plum. That was the girl that he had an affair with. His patient that he had an affair
Yeah,
with.
that he lost his license, yeah,
Yes.
because of.
And while this is all going on and they're just unpacking all of this trauma, Wadsworth is literally sprinting back and forth and just like kind of being erratic. And then the doorbell rings, and like in real time. And Mrs. Peacock answers the door, and it's just like a, have you prayed for your Lord today? Like just like a religious
Evangelist or something.
yeah, like an evangelist kind of guy, and he's just like, the end is near, Armageddon is here.
Yeah.
And she just like shuts the door on him because they're all just like, yeah, well, we're gonna die if we don't figure this out. So like, sorry, this is a little bit more important than what you got going on here, sir. And then just like nothing happened, then Wadsworth just keeps continuing.
Yeah. So the whole time, I want to mention this is like almost a continuous scene, like almost. And Wadsworth is talking the entire time very quickly. He is literally running as the scene goes on. He gets sweatier and sweatier.
Yeah.
Like he's just like dripping sweat. And it's just like this whole hyper. You're just kind of like, and then
It literally reminds me of Willem Dafoe in like Boondock Saints as he's like figuring out things as like it's just more radical and radical as it goes on.
Yeah, there is a Sunny in Philadelphia. It's always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's season 10, episode 4. I looked this up because I remember watching this, and this is one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen. It's called Charlie Work, and it is a continuous like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, 16 minutes, whatever it is, of a completely, this is in one shot of Charlie just basically doing the exact same thing. Like, and then you're gonna go do this, and then Dee's gonna do this, and then Mac's gonna do that. You know, like it was just like a whole like, and he's like, God damn it, Dee. Like it's like this, you should play it on YouTube or just find that Charlie Work scene. Okay. It's amazing. It's one of, I mean, it just really brings out his acting ability of like, it's really great. And I feel like that this scene maybe was partially responsible for that scene. Is kind of like a, like, oh, we got a kind of an idea. Yeah. There's been a lot of things like Glass Onion, kind of this, it kind of took its ending kind of like for this and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just kind of like a side note. Get back to the, so again, Wadsworth is dripping in sweat. And he continues. He says, Yvette stabbed the cook in the kitchen and Mr. Body in the hall. And she killed Mr. Body in the hall with a candlestick. Why did she do it? She was working on the orders of her employer, Miss Scarlett. Scarlett killed the motorist in the lobby with the wrench, killed Yvette with the rope in the billiards room, killed the cop in the library with the lead pipe, killed the singing telegram girl with the revolver on the doorstep. And then Scarlett says, you have no proof. And Wadsworth tells everyone to empty their pockets and purses, and whomever has the gun is the killer. Shocker, it's Scarlett. She's got it in her purse. Mm-hmm. She confesses and says her real business is selling secrets. Because Green made a comment like, you're not like a secret in like Washington. Everyone knows who you are, what you do. They just don't care.
And like, also, if anybody ever tried to bust you, you would also be busting pretty much everybody else.
All these politicians and high-ranking.
So they know better. So what are you doing here?
Yeah. So she's like, well, that's not the business I'm really in. My real business is selling secrets. I'm going to sell all your secrets to the highest bidder. And everyone's like, Colonel Mustard's like, I have no more money left. Like, and everyone's like, yeah, me neither. And she goes, well, don't worry. You can pay me in government secrets because they all have some kind of government tie. Wadsworth has to go, though, since he doesn't have any government secrets. He's the weak link. Right. And this is where the great bullet argument comes from. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite. This is a scene that I have to do because it's great. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to do it as fast as they did it. Okay. So this is between Scarlett and Wadsworth. Okay. And she says, sorry, Wadsworth, your time has come. And he says, not so fast, Miss Scarlett. There are no more bullets left in that gun. And she's like, come on. You don't think I'm going to fall for that old trick? And Wadsworth says, there was one shot fired at Mr. Body, 2 at the chandelier, and 2 at the lounge door, and 1 for the singing telegram girl. And then and Scarlett says, well, that's not 6. And he says, Wadsworth goes, 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. And she says, nuh-uh. There was only 1 shot fired at the chandelier. Fine. That's 1 + 1 + 2 + 1. Wadsworth says, even if you're right, that's 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. And then she goes, okay, 1 + 2 + 1, shut up. The point is there's 1 bullet left in this gun, and guess who's going to get it? Then the doorbell rings, and Wadsworth wrestles the gun out of Scarlett's hands, and here comes the chief of police, who was the evangelist that was saying, Armageddon's here, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, Wadsworth, don't hate me for trying to shoot you. And he says, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Like I said, no more bullets in the gun. And he shoots. And the gun shoots. It hits the chandelier.
There was a bullet in there.
It hits the other chandelier. Okay. And then they both say, him and Scarlett both go, 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. And then we see Mustard trying to, because he's pretty dumb.
He's trying to carry like the one. Like
He's like, one
he's
plus
never done
two
math in his life.
plus one. And then all of a sudden we see right behind him the chandelier come and crash down right behind him. He's like, and then it freezes. And the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it could have happened.
Yeah, we
But
have
how
like the
about
old
this?
timey, we have like the old timey like scene kind of
Mhm.
splitter where it's like, and that's how it could have happened. How about this? Okay, so instead of Miss Scarlet having the gun in her purse, now it's Mrs. Peacock who has the gun because of course Wadsworth is like, all right, late fellas, empty your pockets, ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the gun is going to, and of course Mrs. Peacock has the gun, and Wadsworth doesn't want any trouble. He's just like, all right, guys, let's just pretend that none of this ever happened. Like, let's pile up the bodies in the cellar, leave one by one. Nothing's gonna happen. Like, no suspicion. We can just forget that any of this ever happened. And we got rid of all the evidence, so then we're just all good. We're clean slate now. And then all of a sudden, all of them except for Mrs. Peacock is just joining and singing of the she's a jolly good fellow.
Because she took care of everything for them. We should thank you, Mrs. Peacock,
Yeah,
because she
she
killed
burned
everybody.
everything. She
Mhm.
killed everybody. There is no
Yep.
evidence. There are no ties to anything. No blackmailing. No nothing. And she's just backing out the door, and she just leaves, and they're just singing for "She's a Jolly Good Fellow." And yeah, as she's leaving,
Mrs. White is like harmonizing. She's like, they're like, she's a jolly good fellow.
I love it. And as soon as Mrs. Peacock walks out, then the whole crew kind of figures out that Wadsworth works for the FBI. He goes, "Oh, well, that phone call, that was for me." And Mr. Green asks if they're just going to sweep all this under the rug. And he says, "Oh, don't worry, we'll clean it up." Why do you think it's run by a man called Hoover?
Hoover.
Like the vacuum. It's amazing. And of course, nothing crazy going on in the mansion, but we see Mrs. Peacock getting into her car, just hopefully like nothing would happen, and the FBI is just like, freeze, and they all just like pop out from the bushes and everything are fully surrounding her, and she is arrested.
What is Wadsworth say?
And Wadsworth says, "We always get our man." And Mr. Green, Mr. Green goes, "Mrs. Peacock was a man," and not only does Colonel Mustard slap Mr. Green, but then Wadsworth also slaps Mr. Green because what he said was so stupid. And then that is the end.
Yes. And did you notice? Okay, so after he gets slapped twice, then Mrs. White grabs Colonel Mustard's his suspender and goes boing like that.
Snaps it.
Yeah, just like as a little thing because she's always doing something. Yeah, and so the end. But here's what really happened. So this is the ending. This is what
the
really
true
happened.
ending.
The true ending. And I'd like to say when this is another Wadsworth kind of going through everything and using Mr. Green as the body, where Wadsworth was like playing the dead body and like, and he's literally throwing Green around like on the ground, pulling him up and then like throwing him in the freeze. Like it's
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
So Professor Plum knew Body wasn't dead, so he pretended he was so that he could finish him off later because he did shoot the gun when it was dark. When Body turned off the lights, it was Plum. Because remember, Plum was like, "Oh, somebody took the gun from me and tried to shoot it or something." It was Plum trying to kill Body because they look at the Body's body and the bullet grazed his ear.
Yeah.
So Professor Plum, Body was pretending to be dead. Professor Plum pretended he was dead because he wanted to go back and finish him off later. And he did finish him off later with the candlestick in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mrs. Peacock killed the chef with a knife because she was giving Body her husband's secrets because she was their chef, making her favorite, which was the brains gave it away. Obviously, the monkey brains gave it away. Colonel Mustard took the cabinet key from Wadsworth while they were all distracted, took the wrench and went through the secret passage to the lounge and killed the motorist. Mrs. White, Mrs. White. So Wadsworth grabs her and runs and runs with her up the stairs. But then she trips up the stairs. He's holding her hand, and then he just lets go and he continues like nothing happened. She's just laying on the stairs like this.
Yeah, she's
And
just, help, I fallen and I can't get up. And he literally just leaves her there.
leaves her, completely leaves her. And he says, "Well, I was in the master bedroom. Mrs. White snuck downstairs, turned off the lights, got the rope, and strangled Yvette in the billiards room. She was jealous." Okay, this is very great. I don't know if I will do it any justice, but this is completely ad-libbed by Madeline Kahn, and it's freaking genius. And behind her, watching Colonel Mustard, who's Richard Mole, his reaction to this is hilarious. Like, it's just, their reaction is amazing. And she goes, yes, I did it. I hated her so much. And then she goes, the flames on the side of my face. Breathing breath, heaving breaths, heaving. And then you just notice Colonel Mustard's face, like, and he's trying not to laugh.
Well, my favorite thing is too, is like, as she's like, flames, breathing, heaving,
Yes.
breath, like, then after, like, they just cut her off, and then they just continue.
Yes.
Like, they don't even acknowledge that she just admitted to killing her. They just, like, just completely go around it, and
Right.
they just
Yeah.
they continue.
Yeah, she's like, heaving. And then they're like, anyways, Miss Scarlet.
Literally.
Yeah. Miss Scarlet snuck into the library with the lead pipe and killed the cop. True or false? And she says, true. Who are you, Perry Mason? And so she gladly admits it. And Mr. Green must have shot the singing telegram girl. There's nobody left. And of course, Green's favorite line to say is, I didn't do it. And he says, whoever has the gun shot her. And Wadsworth pulls out the gun. I shot her. And then Green says, so it was you. I was going to expose you. And then Wadsworth said, true. So I decided to expose myself. And then Colonel Mustard says, please, there are ladies present.
What an icon. This man is literally one brain cell left.
Wadsworth is Mr. Body because they've never met Mr. Body. That's what he says. He goes, now you never had met Mr. Body until tonight. And they're like, you're Mr. Body. Oh, flames,
Right.
flames from the side of my head. Breathing, heaving, flames. And then so Professor Plum is concerned because, so who did I kill? And Wadsworth says, my butler. And he goes, oh, shucks. He's very disappointed in that. And then Wadsworth says that all of you, or thank you to all of you for disposing of my network of spies and informers. Now there's no evidence against me. And Green says, but the police are coming. And then Wadsworth says, why should they come? Nobody's called them. So why shouldn't we all get away with it? Of course, they're just going to pile the bodies in the cellar kind of thing. Green says, forget what happened and you'll keep blackmailing us. And then Wadsworth says, well, duh, of course. He's like, of course, why not?
Yeah.
And then Green says, I'll tell you why not. And he pulls the gun and shoots Wadsworth. And Wadsworth says, good shot. And then he like puts his hand in his jacket and he like pulls out his hand and he's bleeding. And then he's like leaning against in the hallway, like leaning against the thing. Mm-hmm. And he says, oh, very good. And he just dies.
Mm-hmm. Stares off into the distance.
Yep. And Mr. Green is working for the FBI. He was planted as one of the guests kind of thing.
No, you have to say what they actually say. You go, I was a plant. And Miss Scarlet says, I thought that they called you fruits.
Yes. Not super appropriate, but in 1954, but yes, and he's like very funny. Very funny. Because, I mean, we do know that Green the whole time, his whole thing was, he's gay. That's it. He just was gay.
No,
he wasn't doing anybody any harm. Like, he didn't do anything. He wasn't shady, wasn't anything. No. So Green says, I told you I didn't do it. And the FBI bursts in. And then they say, it's the evangelist guy is like, he's like, all right, who did it? And Green says they all did. And then but if you want to know who killed Mr. Body, it was me in the hall with the revolver. That's what Mr. Green says. And he goes, I'm going home to sleep with my wife. And then they play
And
Shake,
then it
Rattle,
cuts
and Roll.
after that. Mhm.
That's the end. Shake, Rattle, and Roll is what they played. And it's very cute. At the end, it has the clue cards, and then
Mhm.
they flip each one over with like each character who's played by who,
Yeah.
Madeline Kahn, Mrs. White,
Mhm.
Wadsworth, Tim Curry, and it's just that's very cute. And that was the actual end. The end. Da, da, da. I do want to give a rundown of each of the characters, what murders they did. So here we got Professor Plum killed Mr. Body slash the butler with the candlestick in the hall. Colonel Mustard killed the motorist with the wrench in the lounge. Mrs. White killed Yvette with the rope in the billiards room. Mrs. Peacock killed the cook with the knife in the kitchen. Miss Scarlet with the lead killed the cop with the lead pipe in the library. And like Mr. Green said, he killed Wadsworth slash Mr. Body with the revolver in the hall.
Mhm.
That is our that is our clue. And yeah, so that's Clue. Great. I enjoy it. I think it's just genius.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it has like a 74% or 7.4 out of 10 or something on
Pretty
IMDb.
good.
I mean, it's just a great movie. Highly recommend getting the MGM Plus free subscription for a week, which Ireland and I have a week. So the
Yeah, it was
26th.
weird.
By the time I guarantee I will forget to cancel it. So by the time we do our next one, I'll be like, "Yep, forgot to cancel that. I paid $7.99 for MGM Plus for a month. Great."
Yeah. That's okay.
All right. So a couple of facts here. The budget was 15 million.
Mm.
It opened to $2,014,166 on December 15th of 1985. Grossed worldwide $14,647,963. And like I said, it was directed by Jonathan Lynn. It was written by John Landis, who directed Coming to America,
Mm.
and he also wrote The Blues Brothers with Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, wow.
So very reason why obviously it didn't do so well at the movies. It is cult classic status just because it's a genius movie. Reasoning why I believe, and a lot of people believe, that this movie did not do well. So the film had multiple endings, as Ireland and I had gone through the 3 different endings. Now they only showed one ending, but they were different endings at different theaters. So no theater had all 3 endings. One theater had the Mrs. Scarlet ending, one theater had the Mrs. Peacock, and another
Imagine
one
going to
had
the one where you have the Mrs. Peacock one. That's so
yeah,
lame.
yeah. I think they did like a whole thing, but with Miss Peacock or with Miss Peacock instead of Miss Scarlet, I think. But when they put them all together on the like release, they just like were like
That's so
shorted it.
lame.
Yeah, and I believe that's why because people
Like I
didn't
get that.
know.
Like I get the concept. I really do. Like I think that's cool. It's like, oh, like it's like when you get a mystery toy from McDonald's. You're like, oh, which one am I gonna get?
Yeah,
Like, oh, which ending am I
yeah,
gonna get?
yeah.
But
So I think that's why people didn't know what ending they were getting. Some of the theaters did say ending A, ending
mm,
B. I
okay.
think they were hoping maybe people would want to see all 3 and pay for 3, but it kind of backfired, because
Okay. That's a
I
lot
mean
of
there was
money.
no streaming back then,
Right.
1985. Everything was only movies, and then you had to
Hmm.
wait months for it to come out on VHS or
Yeah.
or Beta.
I don't even know what that is.
Yes, that was a smaller VHS. So when you would go, it was either VHS or Beta. Now
Hmm.
I only had a VHS player. I didn't have a Beta
We had
player.
VHS growing up, yeah.
My cousin had a Beta player. So when you
Okay.
would go to, whatever Blockbuster and they would say Beta or VHS.
Mm.
So I think VHS was more popular. Not sure. Beta might have been cooler. I don't know because we just had a VHS player. But that was the thing. You'd ask like, do you need Beta or VHS? They were always out of it. And yeah, so I think that's why it didn't do as well because
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
kind of
that
like
makes sense.
nobody wants to spend all that money to see
Yeah,
3
I didn't
different
know
endings.
that though. That's really
Hmm.
cool.
Uh, Obviously, Madeline Kahn ad libbed her iconic "flames on the side of my face" speech.
Amazing. Right.
I got all this information from IMDb, by the way. I get all my information from IMDb, unless I say otherwise. So Carrie Fisher was originally cast as Miss Scarlet, but she had to drop out because she was in rehab. And she tried to get it like a furlough to kind of be able to, but they wouldn't let her do it. The rehab facility, because I believe it was like she was forced to go into rehab. It was like jail or rehab. So it was got one of those things. So the person who played Mr. Body, his name is Lee Ving, V-I-N-G. And he was cast partly because of his name. They were able to add this line. Mr. Body will be leaving soon.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
He will be leaving
Anyways,
soon.
bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
And on that note,
Literally.
okay, so yes, I just
That is
yeah.
funny though. I do like that.
Yeah, so like I had said, the whole ending of this with the running around and everything, Glass Onion kind of took its ending from this. A lot it is inspired different endings from different movies. Like I said, the Charlie Work season 10, episode 4 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia it's called Charlie Work, and it is one of the greatest, craziest scenes continuously shot. This is continuously shot that I've ever seen. It was just, yeah, it was awesome. So while Tim Curry was filming the crazy running back and forth scenes, he actually gave himself extremely high blood pressure, and he had to they had to call in a nurse to like make sure he was okay. Because he gave himself like insanely high blood pressure, and you could tell by his face. It's all like, you know, I'm sure they put the sweat on him and stuff, more sweat on him to make him, because he was like dripping, and they like really made it look like that. But yeah, so that is Clue.
So good.
It is so good. So next week we are going to be doing the movie Legend. Again, Tim Curry is in this. This is a serious movie. I believe this is Tom Cruise's first movie.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a serious movie, but it's one of those like, how did no. But I will say that Tim Curry's performance is beautiful in this, and I think he's the only one that I'm like, yes. Everything else is like, it's just, they were trying to do a Labyrinth. I don't know if this is before or after Labyrinth, but I feel like this is after, and I think they were trying to do a Labyrinth-esque thing with like a, you know, the usual guy saving the maiden kind of thing with the bad guy. Yeah, and it's no David Bowie and his codpiece. It'll never be. It'll never be. Never. Yeah, and then we're gonna finish it up. We're gonna do so Legend will be next week. The Three Musketeers, obviously the Tim Curry one, which has Charlie Sheen and all them. Yes, he plays the Cardinal. He's great in that one. And we're gonna end it with the cult classic of all cult classics, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that's what we'll be doing. Yeah. So on behalf of myself, Katie, the Gen X mom,
and Ireland, the Gen Z daughter,
we want to thank everybody for joining us for another episode of Butterscotch Rewatch, and we hope to see you guys next week.
Bye.